What's up, you guys? Sean Rossap, Fightful.com. Here with a name you know, and you might have seen me tweet recently when I saw a picture of Nidia. I said, man, I'd like to interview her. Well, as it turns out, the person who was in that picture with her, Gail Kim, hit you up and said, hey, do this interview. And it worked? How you doing?
No, I think it was actually meant to be because I was thinking about her. She must have called me with her mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, girl, what's up? And she's like, dude, I was just talking about you. And she told me about you. She's like, I highly recommend him. So I vouch for him. Will you do an interview? I was like, yeah, sure. Any friend of Gail's.
That made me so happy. She posted a picture of you guys running into each other just randomly from maybe a year or two ago. So
it was like at an Eagles game.
Yeah, but where was this at? Was this in
it was in Pennsylvania.
Okay. So Philadelphia Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, we were at the Eagles game and we were in the shop. And David goes, is that Robert? And I looked, I go, oh, it is. I go, where there's a Robert, there's a Gail.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you and Gail had worked together quite a bit. I mean, even after WWE, you all worked together quite a bit wrestling. So what was that like running into her again?
Oh, it's like riding a bike, you know? It's like riding a bike. We just pretty much picked up wherever we left off. And we just have such good chemistry. And we kind of hit it off since the get-go. I don't know if she told you, but we did, it was her tryout match we did together. And yeah, we never wrestled each other before. And as soon as we locked up, it just kind of flowed. So needless to say, she got a job after that one.
Yeah, I mean, of course, many people know you from Tough Enough, the first season, which really was one of the earliest reality shows out there and a successful one at that. When you see all the reality shows today and you know that you were a part of that early success, how does that feel?
I guess.
Do you see yourself as a reality TV star when you look in the mirror?
No, not at all. My daughter, she's so funny about that stuff. She marks out, and I'm just like, it's like, it's so normal to me, I guess, that it doesn't seem like a big deal. She's like, wow, I watched a video of you, or her friends will come up. It's like, oh, watch this or that, or you did an interview, et cetera, et cetera. Today, I didn't even tell her. And I was like, hey, Lil, I'm going to be in the room. I'm going to do an interview. If you need anything, let me know. The boy, I didn't even tell because he doesn't care. He's going to come in regardless. And she goes, you're doing an interview? I was just like, yeah. She's like, that is so cool. What time? And I told her, and she's like, damn it, I have school, because she wanted to sit in and do the interview with me. But yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like your daughter thinks it's super awesome. I remember cool. in a WWE.com article, you said that she would threaten her classmates and be like, my mom was a wrestler and she'll beat you up.
She would. It spread like fire. It's like, Miss Nidia, were you a wrestler? Lil said you were going to beat me up. I was like, no, you can't tell people that.
So I know that obviously reality TV has been more, I don't want to say refined, but or homogenized, produced in the last 20 years.
You can say refined. It is a beautiful now. I watch the Total Divas. God, I would have been so much fun to be in that show.
And that stuff is largely scripted. I mean, that stuff is just largely created for you.
Don't ruin it for me.
I mean, come on.
What?
Come on. They've got cameras there when people are breaking up backstage. But
it's fantastic.
Do you watch Total Divas, Total Bellas, that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch that. I'm the most boring person you'll ever meet. I really don't watch that much TV. But, if I do, that's a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that when I would teach women's kickboxing and people would find out what I did for a living, which would be covering pro wrestling, the thing is they wouldn't say, do you know The Undertaker or John Cena? They'd say, do you know Naomi and Jimmy Uso? Because they would be on Total Divas or something like that. And that's how they would know these people. So, I mean, it does connect with a different audience too.
It really does. It's like a broader, it's just a broader audience. I feel like I got recognized a ton with Tough Enough. I mean, still some with WWE, but with Tough Enough, it was just it's pretty wild.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you find yourself getting recognized by non-wrestling fans because of that all the time?
Yes. I remember one time we went to a club. It was all 5 of us. And we went to a club in Connecticut and they were just like, oh my God. And they knew everything. They knew everyone. So that was really weird. Definitely different than with wrestling.
And I think a lot of people that watch today might not realize this wasn't just like something that was on and promoted by WWE. This was on MTV.
That's MTV.
MTV in like the
Carson
prime
Daly over here.
prime TRL, Road Rules, Real World
Right.
era. You were on MTV.
Yes, definitely broader audience for sure. The early ages, I feel I got recognized more like like I said, during the Tough Enough years than I did with the wrestling. So.
And now it's nonstop episodes of ridiculousness on MTV. That's the only thing that's on the channel anymore. But,
is it really?
Oh yeah, that's it, 24/7. But did you
so
feel
the music part is gone?
Oh yeah, big time, long gone. Did you feel they represented you fairly on there? I mean, I know that you said that they definitely tried to make a show of it, but
they made a show. It was so funny. I remember watching the first few episodes when it seemed like there was something going on between myself and Chris Nifong. And it was so edited. Like he looks like he's in a boy band. That was like a completely different episode. I love NSYNC. And the way they pieced it together, I was like, oh, damn it. It made it seem like I have a crush on him. It was like two completely different episodes. Because they'll ask you questions, you know. It's like, what kind of music do you like? Or what kind of band? So you have to, I like NSYNC. I like pop, you know. So they pieced it together. They knew what they were doing.
Did they ever script anything?
There's a lot of stuff they left out, too. But we don't talk about that.
Really? What'd they leave out?
Nope.
What? What did they leave out of there?
There's a lot of other stories there.
My gosh. And I mean, that was, you look back and there were a whole lot of people. It's funny because there are several people from the subsequent seasons of Tough Enough that didn't even make it on the show and ended up becoming big wrestling stars. You, I had always heard, took to wrestling really, really well on that show. And you spoke with a lot of confidence. You're like, I had a feeling I was going to win this show because I took to it so well. I mean,
they did. They said I would. They would tell me that. They're like, oh, you're like a duck in water. It's like, oh, cool. But in the show, it wasn't portrayed that way. So it was really like whenever towards the later seasons, I remember Josh, Maven, and I would go eat, and I was just like, man, Maven, it's like you're looking pretty good. It's like I'm not looking so good. They're like, well, you know, just give it a second. Maybe it's like an underdog type of angle that they're going with, you know, because we were watching it and we didn't know who was going to win at the end. So you're watching the entire show, you're seeing how they're portraying it, and you're like, oh, it's not looking very good, guys.
So do you think that they did that for dramatic effect to make it seem like it was a shock win when you were like, I'm winning this thing?
Well, I thought, I mean, not to sound arrogant, but I thought I was better. And then when you see yourself being portrayed as just really struggling, it's like, that's not really accurate, but damn it. I don't think, it's not looking so good, but it worked out.
A lot of people always wonder, do you ever keep in touch with anybody from Tough Enough? I mean, right now, as we're filming this, Chris Nowinski is at an AEW event doing Concussion Protocol with them. You've got Josh Matthews still on TV. Maven has appeared on the bump. So you've got a few people that are still loosely connected and stuff, but but you don't keep in touch with
I mean,
anybody?
the person that I kept in touch with the longest was Josh. But now, it's just it's tricky with kids, you know? It's like time flies by and you don't even realize that it's been that long, you know?
How produced was that show as far as like, did they give you lines to say? I mean, I know there are always like voiceover things and things you might have to redub, especially if you're not mic'd up or anything like that. But did they ever just feed you stuff?
Not necessarily, no. I think, like you say, it's more fine-tuned and narrowed now. Back then, they would ask you questions that you would have to answer a certain way. Mm-hmm. And that's how they got it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they would set up the questions to make sure they got the answer that they wanted.
Yeah. So it's like it's stuff you couldn't avoid.
So you win that. How did you feel when you win that? And how far ahead did you know, or was it a legitimate surprise?
Oh, it's a super surprise. We didn't know. So they took us on the very last, it was supposed to be the last filming episode before the show aired. And they took us to, it was actually the Trump Tower, and everybody was dressed up and we were going to have the awards ceremony. And when we got there, they didn't open the doors. And they were like, okay, guys, you're going to go back home. You're going to come back here in a few weeks and you're going to start training again. And we're going to do the last episode live. So we thought we were going to find out. Nobody slept the night before. Like, we're all super nervous. And it's like, nobody's talking on the way there. And they're like, psych, you're going to have to wait, 3-4 more months. So they sent us back home for a few weeks, and then we started training again. And that's whenever we were watching the show as it went week by week. And the last show was live. They're like, everybody prepare a speech, and yep, that was
amazing.
That was it.